Hello and welcome to News Central Now. I am Adebola Adedugba. The top stories at this hour. Nigeria and India strengthen strategic partnership as President Tinubu hosts Prime Minister Modi in Abuja. INEC declares incumbent Lucky Aiyedatiwa winner of Ondo governorship election. Authorities limit food supplies to illegal miners trapped in South African mine. Details shortly. News Central now begins in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, where Nigeria and India have strengthened their partnership, pledging collaboration in economic development, defense, healthcare, and food security. During Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Abuja, he and President Bola Tinubu discussed counterterrorism, maritime security, and trade. They agreed on measures to combat piracy and enhance naval cooperation. India reaffirmed support for Nigeria's defense modernization and highlighted over 14 billion naira in India investments targeting energy, telecommunications, and industrial sectors. Both nations committed to improving healthcare, energy supply, and food security. India will share its Co-Win Health platform and provide affordable medicines, cultural exchanges, education programs, and renewable energy cooperation also featured prominently, solidifying the growing ties between the two countries.
I recall that the last time we met was on the margins of G20 Leaders Summit in Delhi in September 2023. As I recall, I have a very good time, a good lunch, and good experience to invite you so that we can rekindle and reclassify our relationship with India. The conference organized by our two countries, the frequency of high-level engagements has to improve. Indian citizens in Nigeria and investors are doing great service to your reputation and to democratic value and economic opportunity in the region. Though your current visit is short, I'm sure that you use this unique opportunity in many ways that we share similarities in terms of diversity and development experience. As earlier.
And for context, we're joined by a business and social policy analyst, and that's Kenneth Ikenwa. Good afternoon. Glad to have you join me on the news.
Good evening. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Let me kick off by asking what you think or what sectors you feel may be impacted by this visit of the Indian Prime Minister.
All right. It's important that we highlight such a meeting, and its strategic nature is good for the image of Nigeria. Much more than that, it should help us reposition our thinking. India shares the same colonial history with Nigeria and got her independence some 13 years before Nigeria. We also share some history in terms of market size. India presently is the largest populated country in the world, and Nigeria is the largest populated country in Africa. India stands as #1, and Nigeria stands as the 5th. So in terms of collaboration, the advances that the Indian nation has made in the last 30 to 40 years will be beneficial to Nigeria if we collaborate and try to sync ideas in the major sectors of manufacturing, law enforcement, and intelligence sectors, and the information and technology sector, where India has done extremely well. And very recently, we can also benefit from the digital economic sector, where India is doing very well. So in these areas, India seems to be a leader in technology, and Nigeria seems to be leapfrogging. I believe that with collaborations in these different sectors, we can become one of the nations that could be termed as the catch-up nations. Now, it's very possible. This is a good one.
Now, talking about sector, I mean, how will the increased trade and also investment between India and Nigeria, for instance, impacts the Nigerian economy?
All right, when you look at the balance of payments of Nigeria, it's usually in the deficits. And India, for now, has a lot of investment. There's a history of Indian families and Indian businessmen and investors that have been in Nigeria since the 1940s. I don't want to mention names. And a lot of Indian citizens were born in Nigeria, carry Nigerian passports and citizenship with a lot of dignity and a lot of pride. So if we can facilitate trade relations with them, it will expand and improve our payments, reduce our trade deficit, and would have alternative ways and alternative markets, new market development, new market penetrations where Nigerians can actually carry their goods into, and when Indians can actually also bring their goods down to Nigeria. So both countries could take advantage of their market size, which is quite large, which is a dominant economic feature. And when this trade increases, it means that we'll have more exchange, more foreign exchange coming in from India, and we can also take advantage of that to boost our technological level of advancement and share ideas, share knowledge, and this over time would amount to logical incremental benefits for Nigeria, either in the short term or in the long term. But there must be prospects that must not be ignored. India is the 5th largest economy in the world. India is the 3rd largest economy by GDP, PPP, which is purchasing power parity. And such a country cannot be neglected when another country like ours, which is a low middle income country, is trying to build its economic trajectory at these very challenging, turbulent times.
Talking about trade, just to reference figures from the Consulate General of India, which shows that Nigeria is India's trading partner in Africa. Now, talking about trade, beyond oil, what can India benefit from Nigeria?
That's a tricky one. That could be said to be a paradox. But there's so much that India can actually benefit from Nigeria. Nigeria is the 6th largest oil exporter, and so we seem to have gone into the oil business before India. India, too, has gained some stride in terms of crude exportation, crude exploration. If we decide to collaborate in that area, India will have a lot to benefit from Nigeria. Most importantly, too, we could have a lot of technical aid exchange, where we have researchers coming in from India, and a lot of researchers from Nigeria too that will benefit the Indian subcontinent can also, be allowed to go on exchange programs from Nigeria, and that would add a lot of value in terms of development of foreign exchange, of intellectual exchange, knowledge exchange for India. So it's a mutual benefit. I believe it's a relationship that can be healthy. I don't see any exploitation or any unnecessary neocolonial tendencies coming from this kind of relationship. It is one, especially when you begin to see the role that India is playing in the new emerging economic bloc, which is known as BRICS, and which I think Nigeria is a little bit flirting with here and there. It could go a long way in positioning Nigeria and repositioning Nigeria on the economic arm of the world, and this could be the entire benefit of Nigeria.
Let's widen the conversation a bit, Mr. Ikenwa. Let's talk about regional security and how that would play out when it comes to this visit by the Indian Prime Minister. Do you see this impacting strengthened security cooperation in any way between Nigeria and India, and how that, of course, translates to impact regional security, most especially in West Africa and the Gulf of Guinea?
Well, my knowledge of military international relations of Nigeria and Nigeria's foreign policy shows that Nigeria has had a long-term military relationship with India. And we've seen a lot of Indian military personnel coming down to Nigerian War College for their senior div courses. We call it the senior div courses in the military. And we've also seen a lot of Nigerians that go on exchange programs. We've also seen exchange programs between Nigerian seafarers and those coming in from India to also learn. So in the area of cooperation, and when it comes to fighting insurgency, it's important to note that just like Nigeria, India has that challenge with some degree of internal insurgency and some degree of insurrection, internal insurrection within India itself. So that cooperation will definitely will beneficiate Nigeria a great deal if it is taken deeper. It will mean that we can have exchange. Don't forget that India is also a nuclear power. I'm not advocating that we should start considering developing nuclear technology, but the level of military advancement that India has can be of benefit to Nigeria. We could easily get weapons from Nigeria to fight terrorism, to fight insurgency, to fight internal insurrection, and we could exchange intelligence. So in terms of strengthening regional security, this partnership will be of immense benefit to Nigeria, and it would just improve our learning curve experiences, and the military exchange would, in the long run, be of benefit to Nigeria. So I see great prospects coming from this area, and I think Nigeria should dig deep into this, and rather than going to other countries that are usually reluctant to offering a lending or to offering and lending a helping hand to Nigeria, India may just be the one that may be there for us when we knock on that door of help.
Well, thank you so much for your time on the news. Kenneth Ikenwa, business and social policy analyst. Many thanks indeed.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has bestowed Nigeria's Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger on Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi during a bilateral meeting at the presidential villa, Abuja. The honor conferred on Sunday recognizes Modi's leadership and deepens ties between the two nations. Tinubu praised Modi's commitment to democratic values and his historic electoral successes in India's complex society. The president said Nigeria values its relationship with India and seeks to strengthen this partnership for mutual benefit. The meeting is part of Modi's state visits aimed at fostering collaboration between the two countries. And let's switch gears to the Ondo governorship election, which has been concluded, where the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has declared Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa of All Progressives Congress, APC, as the winner of the Saturday's governorship election in Ondo State. Ayedatiwa was declared winner after polling the highest number of votes in the election. The incumbent governor battled Adebola of the PDP, Olorunfemi Festus of the Labour Party LP, and Abbas Mimiko of Zenith Labour Party ZLP, among others, in Saturday's poll. Announcing the result in Akure, the state capital, INEC's returning officer and Vice-Chancellor of Federal University Lokoja, Professor Akinwumi Olayemi Durotimi, said Ayedatiwa polled a total of 366,781 votes, while Ajayi got 117,845 votes, while Labour Party had 1,162 votes. Earlier, a lawyer and public affairs analyst, Taiwo Ojomo, shared his thoughts on these developments.
The governor of the state was the most popular of all the candidates. But then there are a lot of lessons to take home from the election, but I must congratulate the governor sincerely. I think he was very popular among all the candidates. Well, I must also congratulate the opposition, that is, in particular, Honorable Adebola Adedugba, who did a good job too. But the governor did a lot of good job. I mean, he did a lot of work. He put a lot of work into the campaign. He went around the 18 local governments, campaigned vigorously, and then almost all the governors of APC, came around to support him. Well, yes, I think the victory was deserved. Like we always say, there's what we call the power of incumbency, which cannot be swept under the carpet. The fact that he has been governor for the past 10 months, going to 11 months now, gave him a major edge over a major contestant or his major opposition, that is Bola Ajayi. And then beyond that, to structure, you can't also underplay or overemphasize the role of structure. APC, as of now, is a ruling party in Nigeria, and of course, was a ruling party. Is currently a ruling party in Ondo State. And so those are some of the things that played important roles, politically for him. And then APC covered the field in the sense that almost every nook and cranny of the state has somebody who was appointed. You recall that not quite long, I think about maybe 2 months ago, thereabouts, the governor did appoint over 300 and something SAs and SSAs. I think those appointments were strategic in helping him to get this.
Now let's cross live to our correspondent who is in the Sunshine State, Ondo State, Amadine Oyi there, monitoring the exercise. Amadine, bring us up to speed. Results has been announced. The winner has been declared. What's the mood of the people in Ondo State?
If you capture the mood at the banquet hall when the result was announced, for mostly supporters of Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa, I think for them, beyond the jubilation, some of them say it's time to rest. They say it was a grueling campaign season where they went with their principal, visited about 18 local government areas of the state. Even within the All Progressives Congress, the chairman said that they had to go all out to unite the party. So for their supporters, it's jubilation galore. For residents of the state, those who participated in the polls, they will be looking forward to 4 years of expectations from government, expecting that Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa will deliver on the dividends of good governance and democracy.
Now, following the announcement of results, Amadine, I can't help but ask you, how about other political parties? What are they saying? How are they taking this in?
In fact, I don't want to speak about other political parties. Let's talk mostly about the citizens, because we went out on the streets to get reactions. We met some who said they didn't vote the governor, some who felt that the elections were not free and fair, some who felt that there was widespread vote buying and selling. But they are resolved that being that the election has been concluded, they are hoping that the governor will now focus on governance and reduce the hardship being faced by citizens.
Just explain to us how you describe the presence of security officers in Ondo State. We understand the police reported over 30,000 police officers deployed to monitor this exercise. Do you think that in any way contributed to voter turnout for this exercise?
I don't really think so, because judging from history, Ondo State has largely been a very, very peaceful state. It's one of those states that you hardly hear of incidences. It's a state that is comprised of, you can say, is divided into the riverine and the mainland. And unlike some other states in the Niger Delta where there are a lot of agitations from the riverine communities, is not so prominent in Ondo State. So the state has largely been peaceful. But I think the police did not want to take their chances towards the very heavy deployment, hoping that in case there is any case or incidents of violence, they will be able to nip it in the bud.
Well, thank you so much for your coverage, Amadine Oyi, there in the Sunshine State, Ondo State, giving us, detailed account of what transpired. Thank you so much, Amadine. Residents of Ondo State have described the recently conducted election in Ondo State as peaceful and devoid of any incidents. Our Abuja Bureau Chief, Amadine Oyi, was on ground at the riverine communities in Ilaje local government area of the state. He files in this report.
Citizens of Ondo State at the jetty at Ugonla, all in a last-minute rush to get to their communities to cast their votes. From there, the journey began across several riverine communities of the Ilaje local government area of the state. Our team stopped at Obenla after an almost 40-minute boat ride, hoping to get the governor, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, as he casts his vote. Shortly after, he arrived at about 8:48 a.m. and immediately proceeded to the voting area.
I've just casted my vote at Unit 05, Ugbo Ward 4 in Ilaje local government area of Ondo State. Here in my unit and the community, it's been calm and peaceful, and the turnout is very, very encouraging.
He commended the election officials for surmounting the usual logistics problem, saying they arrived on time for the process.
From what I've seen here today, the INEC officials, I was told, have arrived since yesterday at the RAC Center, and they started early. You can see it's just about past 9. I have casted my vote, and I'm not the first person that casted his vote anyway. Some other eligible voters have already casted their vote before I came out, before I got here.
Some others on ground gave an overview of the entire process from their own perspective.
Presently, you can see everywhere the environment is peaceful, and there is no rancor, no arguments. Everybody understands each other, even including all the politicians around. It's a spirit of brotherhood in them, and all of them are going on their way. Since we have been around, we have been moving around from one ward to another in this election. There's no cause for alarm anywhere. No security threats, everything's going on fine.
The process has been successful, it's going on smoothly. So those for those goods, there is no problem. So and the environment is very conducive. So everybody is at home, it's relaxed, and they are performing their duties as at when they.
It's free and fair. That's what I'm going to say. It's just free and fair. And there's no fights and there's no disagreements on different parties.
The vote is going on very well. No argument. We're doing it successfully. There are no fighting on other things.
With the polls now ended, residents of the state will be anxiously looking up to the electoral body to complete the process and announce the winner of the election. In Ondo for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
After the break, APC wins 20 chairmanship, 236 councillorship seats in Ogun local government polls. Details shortly. Thank you for staying with us. The Ondo State Independent Electoral Commission, OSIEC, has announced the results of the 2024 local government chairmanship and councillorship elections, with the All Progressives Congress APC securing victories in all 20 local government areas and 236 wards across the state. The results were declared by OSIEC Chairman, Mr. Babatunde Oshibodu, during a live broadcast from the Commission's headquarters in Okelewo, Abeokuta. Mr. Oshibodu revealed that a total of 613,156 votes were cast in the chairmanship election across the state's 20 local government areas. The election featured candidates from 19 political parties. Earlier, a lawyer and political affairs analyst, Festus Ogun, spoke to us on these developments.
What we had was an activity involving members of the political party, the leading political party in Ogun State, that's the All Progressives Congress. And we have a situation where they have foisted themselves on the good people of Ogun State. We had wards, we had polling units where there were no polling materials, where there were no electoral officers. Yet we saw on TV how results were announced. We know how people were intimidated, members of opposition parties were intimidated, arrested, brutalized by elements loyal to the people in government. The election was not a reflection of the will and aspiration of the people of Ogun State. Yes, there were other members of other political parties that participated in the election. But was there an election? That's the question we've been asking ourselves. When you go to wards, you go to polling units, some, there were no electoral materials. Some, the electoral officers were there, but there were no electoral materials. And that happened virtually in all parts of the state. So if that happened and results were announced, then it appears that it was just a fraud committed against the people of the state. And this brings to mind the very important question that, are we truly ready for democracy in this country? If we say we are operating a democracy, a constitutional democracy at that, are we going to keep a situation where a local government authority is now cherry-picked by the people in government? It shouldn't be so. What we had in Ogun State was a situation where the Electoral Commission only handpicked individuals from the APC that were simply loyal to the governor. So, in my view, it was just...
And now to security matters, where the 3-division Maxwell Kobe Cantonment and Operation Safe Haven of the Nigerian Army, based in Jos, under the General Officer Commanding Major General Abdulsalam Abubakar, have reaffirmed their commitment to enhancing the security of lives and property in their joint operation in line with their operational mandate. And this was outlined in a press statement signed by Media Officer of Operation Safe Haven, Major Samson Zakom, in Jos, the capital of Plateau State. News Central Shizobanian will now take a closer look at developments behind this initiative in this special report.
In contrast to just a few months ago, Plateau and Kaduna states now present a more peaceful image, with residents going about their daily businesses without fear of violence. Wondering what led to this improvement, the Media and Information Officer of Operation Safe Haven, Major Samson Zakom, who spoke off camera, explained that troops from the 3 Division and Operation Safe Haven, alongside other security agencies, had launched extensive operations across Kaduna and Plateau states, driven by timely and credible information from the public. Here's what the residents of Jos, the capital of Plateau State, had to say about the situation.
No, there's peace now. The military and the other security agencies are trying. The new GOC have tried, and the CP that they came. There's collaboration, not like before. And the governor is doing well. He's doing well. I think they have identified the problem, and we hope it continues like that.
Actually, the situation now is much better compared to some months back. So far, everywhere has been peaceful. The army has been trying. So, we are happy with the work they are doing, and everything is okay for now.
In the local areas, the killing is highly minimized. It's no longer as before. People can go anywhere and come out. At least, if it is not night time, you can be able to go and transact your business and come back. But at least Plateau State, the state of peace and tourism is coming back to reality.
If it's not a joint collaboration, the Nigerian Army alone cannot single-handedly cope up, and that's why there is joint task force. So I want to say that the Nigerian Army have done well.
According to Major Zakom, between October and November this year, numerous arrests were made, including a female military impersonator. The arrests were for various offenses, including the illegal fabrication and use of arms, kidnapping, and impersonation, among others. In foiling the plans of these criminals, security forces neutralized several suspects while recovering 4 AK-47 magazines, over 100 rounds of 7.62mm special and 9mm ammunition, 46 cartridges, 1 foreign-made Beretta pistol, and 600,000 naira in ransom money, among others.
And so, like Oliver Twist, the people of Plateau State are asking for more. They are hoping and believing that the relative peace on the plateau will be maintained as well as sustained. In Jos for News Central, Chizoba Aniowe.
Nigeria's federal government has urged stakeholders to collaborate in combating livestock diseases in an effort to protect livestock and citizens that consume them. The appeal was made by the Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security during the closeout meeting of the Livestock Disease Surveillance Knowledge Integration Project in the nation's capital, Abuja. Our correspondent Joshua Imarai has details.
It was the closeout session of the Livestock Disease Surveillance Knowledge Integration Project, also known as LIVISKI, which held in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. The project, which commenced in 2020 and was funded by the European Union, aimed at providing tools and developing strategies to combat pest and petit ruminant in sheep and goats and Newcastle disease in poultry. Speaking at the event, Nigeria's Minister of State for Agriculture, who was represented, emphasized the impact of the project on the country's progress in controlling livestock diseases.
Together, we have deepened our understanding of the PPR and Newcastle disease and developed effective strategy for their control and prevention. Of emphasis are the development of guidelines and protocol for disease control and management, enhancement of disease detection and reporting capabilities of field surveillance officers, particularly in Kano, Plateau, and Bauchi states.
Stakeholders say that the project distributed over 3 million PPR vaccine doses and 7 million Newcastle disease vaccine doses to rural communities in Plateau, Bauchi, and Kano State.
So over the course of the project, we have been able to, because of this resource of the solar power at our outstation laboratories, been able to distribute almost 4 million doses of the PPR vaccines through these 3 pilot states, and almost 8 million doses of Newcastle disease. And thank you. And if I tell you where we were coming from, particularly for ND, at one point it was just 500,000 doses.
The World Health Organization for Animal Health says that initiatives like the DISCI project will support global efforts to eradicate PPR by 2030.
In their joint PPR control and eradication strategy, FAO and OA have set goal of eradicating PPR by 2030. And the first phase of the PPR global eradication program from 2017 to 2021 focused on PPR control.
Stakeholders say the result of the DISCI project will enhance Nigeria's efforts in eradicating PPR and Newcastle disease. They hope that the project will thereby chart a new course for livestock development in the country. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarayi.
Nigerian health experts are encouraging citizens to adopt contraceptive use as a means of managing the country's rapidly growing population. Health professionals say limited funding and socio-cultural beliefs are major obstacles to widespread family planning adoption in Africa's most populous nation. Our correspondent, Omolola Ololade, has details in this report.
With its current trajectory, Nigeria's population, now estimated at over 200 million, is projected to double within 25 years, positioning it as the third most populous country globally after India and China. While government policies identify family planning as vital to managing growth, many Nigerians voice concerns around birth control methods.
I think the major reason behind family planning is the aspect of procedure. That's if you don't meet the right person. You know, some people in the quest to do family planning could end up meeting people that are not specialists, and before you know it, they end up risking their lives and their fertility status.
The reason why they actually went into it because they were trying to prevent pregnancy, but at some point when they now needed the pregnancy, they started having little complications. Sometimes maybe removing it, even after removal, it's now difficult for them to conceive.
Many women and many families give birth, call it unwanted children. But no any children that is unwanted. It is due to lack of knowledge of family planning. That is why they continue to give births.
Alongside cultural beliefs and misconceptions, experts cite funding as a critical barrier to promoting family planning nationwide.
We can talk about what the federal government is putting into the Federal Ministry of Health, but at the state level, in terms of ownership, in terms of sustainability and buy-in, it is very, very poor. If states can allocate funds, even if it is 10% of their annual budget for FP, we will not be in the situation that we are now.
Despite these challenges, contraceptive use offers significant health benefits for both mothers and children.
When women take up family planning, they are able to decide the number of children they want to have, and then this will impact in the family economics. You are able to cater to the children, send the children to school. The reality in Nigeria is that we all want our children to go to the best schools, and it doesn't come cheap. So when a woman is able to plan her pregnancy, she's able to also support the husband with the family finances to be able to give better lives to the children.
Greater awareness and access to family planning are expected to help slow population growth and mitigate its associated challenges. In Lagos for News Central, Omolola Ololade.
Coming up, South African authorities limit food supplies to trapped illegal miners. Details shortly. Thank you for staying with us. Tanzania's Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa has urged citizens to remain calm as rescue operations continue following the collapse of a 4-story building in Kariako, Dar es Salaam's bustling commercial hub. The tragedy, which occurred on Saturday, has claimed at least 5 lives and left dozens injured. Rescue teams, including hundreds of first responders, are working tirelessly to locate survivors trapped beneath the rubble. Using bare hands, drills, and sledgehammers, rescuers are combing through the debris in a coordinated effort supported by heavy-duty excavators. Prime Minister Majaliwa assured the public the government is prioritizing the rescue mission, urging patience and cooperation as efforts intensify to save lives in the wake of this devastating incident.
Kuhakikishia kwamba kazi hii tutaendelea nayo kuhakikisha kuwa tunakwenda kuokoa mpaka mtu wa mwisho. Tuendelee kuomba Mungu kwamba hao tunaookoa waendelee kuwa hai. Ni wasihi ndugu na jamaa na marafiki, lakini pia jamii ya wafanyabiashara, muwe watulivu. Kazi inaendelea. Turuhusu zaidi vyombo vya ulinzi kufanya kazi.
When I head to South Africa, where authorities in Stilfontein are grappling with a crisis involving hundreds of illegal miners trapped underground without food or water. Police have blocked supplies to force them out of an abandoned shaft. One decomposed body was retrieved last week, and survivors emerging are reportedly weak and dehydrated. A miner said nothing remains underground for sustenance. A court order on Saturday lifted restrictions, allowing locals to deliver food and water to those trapped. The incident has sparked outrage after a government official dismissed aiding the miners, calling them criminals. Known as zamazamas, the miners often work in this huge shaft. Police and rescue experts are devising a plan to remove them safely. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Archi has stated that a window of opportunity exists for nuclear negotiation with the West, but warned that it is limited. Arachi remarks follows a visit by Rafael Grossi, the Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, who held talks with top Iranian officials in what many view as a last-ditch effort to revive diplomacy before U.S. President-elect Donald Trump returns to the White House in January. During Trump's first term from 2017 to 2021, his administration adopted a maximum pressure policy against Iran, which included withdrawing from the 2015 nuclear agreement brokered by former President Barack Obama and reimposing heavy sanctions. While the Biden administration has maintained these sanctions, Grossi's visit signals ongoing international efforts to ease tensions over Iran's nuclear program before a potentially hard-line USA approach resumes under Trump.
البته این فرصت زیاد نیست، فرصت محدودی هست. ما برای این مذاکرات آمادگی کامل داریم و به نظر من شدنی هست. دیپلماسی هنوز میتونه در این زمینه کار بکنه و ما پنجره‌های دیپلماسی رو باز می‌دانیم به شرطی که اراده واقعی در طرف‌های مقابل ما وجود داشته باشه. مسیر هسته‌ای ما در یک سال آینده مسیر حساس و پیچیده‌ای خواهد بود، ولی ما برای هر سناریویی، برای هر شرایطی آمادگی داریم و اگر به نقطه تقابل برسیم برای اون تقابل آمادگی داریم، اگر به نقطه همکاری برسیم برای اون همکاری آمادگی داریم.
In the world of sport, Manchester United have confirmed the arrival of 5 coaches who are to work in Ruben Amorim's backroom staff. The former Sporting CP coach has hired several of the team who helped him win 2 Premier League titles during his tenure in Portugal. A club statement confirmed that Carlos Fernandes, George Vital, Adilo Candido, Emmanuel Ferro and Paulo Barreira have all joined United as the team looks to rebound from the unsuccessful end to Eric Ten Hag's time in charge. They will join former United midfielder Darren Fletcher and Andres Judson as first-team coaches. The new look bench faces its first test at Portman Road against Ipswich Town on November 24th. Meanwhile, Bruno Fernandes will return to Manchester to meet up with his new manager and countryman Amorim despite Portugal having another game against Croatia in the UEFA Nations League on Monday. Fernandes was released early from the camp after receiving a yellow card during Portugal's 5-1 win over Poland on Friday that ended him a suspension for the trip to Zagreb. Rafael Nadal said he could skip singles matches at the Davis Cup finals in Malaga this week and limit himself to doubles action if he helped Spain's title chances in his last tournament as a professional player. Now, Nadal will call time on his glittering career spanning over 2 decades at the team competition, and a 22-time Grand Slam champion is aware that he has not played a competitive singles match since losing to Novak Djokovic at the Paris Olympics. Severely hampered in the last 2 seasons by a serious hip injury and a string of minor problems, the Spaniard said he would give his best in Malaga, but was also ready to sit out. A former world #1, Nadal said he had spoken to Spain captain David Ferrer and requested him not to make any decisions based on the fact that this is his final week on the tour. Mike Tyson says his defeat by Jake Paul felt like a victory because he almost died earlier this year. The 58-year-old lost to the YouTube-turned boxer by a unanimous point decision in the heavily criticized fight in Texas on Friday. Fans booed towards the end of the contest, frustrated by the drab affair. Tyson landed just 18 punches during the 8 rounds compared to Paul's 78 as he lost for the 7th time in 57 fights. The fight, initially scheduled for July, was postponed in May on medical advice after Tyson suffered from a stomach ulcer flare-up, which he has now revealed was more serious than it first appeared. And that's all on the news. Let's take a look again at some of the major story. Nigeria and India strengthen strategic partnership as President Tinubu hosts Prime Minister Modi in Abuja. INEC declares incumbent Lucky Ayedatiwa winner of Ondo governorship election. Authorities limit food supplies to illegal miners trapped in South African mine. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Adebola Adedugba.